I swear, oh my God, this Stream Deck. Here I thought everything was good. I'm glad I double checked, and I looked back down because I pushed the mic mute button. Luckily, I caught it soon enough. You guys didn't miss anything other than me saying, "Hey, I think we're good." Only then, of course, to discover we were not. So, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is here already. It is just now. It is just now 11 o'clock. Though my clock is telling me otherwise. I need to fix this because it's going to screw me up if I don't. I am in Mountain Time. Why? What are we doing? Do that. Man, I am in Mountain Time. Why are you telling me it is noon when it is very much not? That is weird. Time manually is 11 a.m. So strange. Well, that didn't work. Time 11 a.m. Wow. Oh, because I didn't do that. I am dumb. I am. And one of these days, I swear, one of these days. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. The whole thing we're going to talk about today is something relatively new to the world, I suppose. We're going to be talking about this. This is Orb. This is orb.net specifically. And this is kind of a cool product that I've messed around with a little bit. This is what we're going to take a look at here in a little bit. But I also want to let people know that earlier this morning, I was like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about in the live stream. I posted that on Blue Sky, Mastodon. I use Fostodon, but same overall thing. They all talk to each other. I also posted over on Twitter. And the folks from Orb responded like, hey, we're going to be in Twitch chat watching your live stream. So if you guys want to interact with the developers, the guys behind, I say the guys of the team behind Orb, if you want to do that directly, you can probably go over to Twitch and join the conversation over there. That would be amazing. If you want to do that, in fact, there is Taco Milkshake. That is Jamie from Orb. Is their first time chat, obviously, over here. So if you want to chat with them directly during the live stream, Twitch is going to be the place to do that. Of course, I will have the chat up on the screen so you can see the conversation on either platform. But if you'd like to directly interact with them, Twitch is going to be the place to do that. So, so that's kind of what's going on there. Just making sure everything over here on my dashboards looks okay. Jamie says he'll also be keeping an eye on the YouTube chat as well. So that's awesome. Oh, I have failed miserably. I didn't get this up. This is going to take forever to kick in. I keep looking over here. I didn't even think about getting ground control up and running. So that's going to take a couple of minutes to kick in. In the meantime, I'm going to be kind of looking over here just to make sure I'm not missing anything. We've got Savag, we've got Powell, we've got York, we've got Mental, Marco. You're all here. Thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with me today while we take a look at this new app called Orb. And I'm still moving things around until I get comfortable here. Oof, there we go. So just a quick disclaimer, I guess. Orb found out about me this morning. Orb is not sponsoring this. They didn't know that this live stream was going to happen until I tweeted about it, until I posted about it online a couple of hours ago. So they're not sponsoring this live stream. This is just something that I recently found. Orb is something I recently found. I deployed it Thursday and kind of messed around with it a little bit Thursday. Found a different way to deploy it Friday, which actually worked better for me. Was talking about it in Discord, and Other people had also deployed it, and they ran into some issues. So we're going to try some different things and see if maybe their deployment went wrong, or B, maybe there's an issue with the deployment that's causing these issues. So I don't claim to know anything about the code or anything real deep level about the application. We're just going to try some stuff and see what happens. But basically, let's while we're doing this, so our mental 6666 says, "I've never heard of Orb, but this will be interesting. I hope so. This is kind of a cool product, and I love. We're going to talk about some stuff on their homepage that I really like. Timothy Jacobs says, "Hi all, happy weekend. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here." So let's jump over to my desktop and take a quick look here. And this is Orb's website. This is orb.net. And it says, right up here at the top, how's the internet at the Verbo? How's at night? How's the internet at home, at the router? Like, there's all these different things that you can monitor with Orb by deploying orbs. Pretty straightforward, if we're being completely honest. But that guy is waving. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you being here. So basically, like it says here, Orb continuously monitors the quality of your internet connections from any platform or device. It's a new free app from the former creators of Speed Test and Down Detector. Though I've looked at this website several times, I had not seen that. Partially probably because I'm colorblind, partially because I'm not super observant sometimes. I really feel like this, if I'm being completely honest, this should be a brighter color, something that kind of calls more attention to it. That is an important thing that people should know. Like, that's kind of a hey guys, like, we know what we're doing. You guys are familiar with us. So yeah, that's just my initial thought, is that should be something that pops. I only say that if you're not familiar with me, if you're fairly new to the channel. For like more than a decade, I was a front-end web developer for platforms for like Joomla and WordPress and some custom HTML stuff that for landing pages and that sort of thing. I wasn't a designer, but I spent a lot of time developing user interfaces or developing user interfaces and user experiences, that sort of thing. So I feel like that's a good, like, hey, you guys actually know us, even though you don't know us. I bring some attention to that somehow. And right below that, it just says Get Orb. If I click that, here's all of the different ways you can get Orb. But we're going to come back to this because there's a lot of different ways that you can get Orb, and I super appreciate that. So I'm realizing I'm not in the center there. That just weirded me out. Anyway, continuous lightweight measurement. Orb measures responsiveness, reliability, and speed without disruption with easy to understand scores. I should zoom in on this, make it a little easier for you guys to see. 125% should be good. So basically, currently, Orb kind of breaks down the testing into 3 segments, which is responsiveness, reliability, and speed. And each of those gets an individual score. And then you get kind of an Orb score of the overall combined scores averaged out or something there. I don't know how that works in the background, but basically you're going to get like 4 scores, but probably not 7. Anyway, bad joke. Anyway, so you're going to get 4 different scores, 3 individual scores, and then an average score of those 3 scores. Again, here it says run Orb anywhere. Orb is available for all of the following platforms, including Mac, Windows, iOS, Android, Linux, Docker, Home Assistant, Raspberry Pi, OpenWRT. Yep. Setup sensor. I don't know what that one is. Setups. So these are not. I don't know what those are. What do we got? Oh, spare iPhone, spare Android, GLI.net, Broom 2, Steam Deck, spare Android, WLAN Pi, all kinds of different ways that you can deploy this without it really intruding on what you're doing. And I super appreciate that. If we scroll down, we can kind of get an idea of what this will look like on, say, a desktop, a phone, or a tablet. And so let's come back up to here. Okay, that is Alexia asking a direct question over to them. Home Assistant, dude, Home Assistant, awesome. Like, it was so easy to install. That guy just said Home Assistant with a smiley face. So yeah, and in fact, let's talk about that for a minute, right? Like, there's all of these different ways that you can deploy this, and if we, in fact, if we click on and more, where was it? No, it's over here. So if you come over to here, you can set up an orb sensor. Um, where you can do Linux, Raspberry Pi, OpenWRT, Docker, Home Assistant, Proxmox. They actually have a Proxmox install script that we are going to take a look at here in a little bit, because while I was in Discord over the last couple of days, and I was talking to the different people in my Discord about this, Alexia had actually mentioned that she had deployed this via the Proxmox script, and her results were not fantastic doing that. We're not sure if it was her setup or what, but here we go. Like, oops, let's come back over here. Right, I apologize, Alexia. I just wanted to share this. You put it in the public Discord. I thought this might be okay. So this is what hers looks like in her Proxmox setup, and this isn't wonderful. The reliability of 9 out of 100. Not a fantastic score. So again, I don't know if it's something with the Proxmox install script, or if it's an issue with Alexia's server, or what the deal is. But this is definitely one of the reasons that I want to take a look at different ways to deploy this to see if I run into similar situations. So I just kind of wanted to share Alexia's experience deploying it via Proxmox. Hopefully it's not a continued thing, but that was just one of the first bad interactions I've seen with this. But again, we don't know all of the details just yet about that setup process. So the first thing I did when I deployed this, again on Thursday, was I just deployed via Docker. And of course, there are instructions here on how you can do that. You can run this quick curl command to just get it deployed. Of course, I went this route with the Docker Compose. And this has got, Orb's latest container name is Orb Center. The network mode is going to be host, just so that it can access like the network controller itself via the Docker container. And then a restart of always, which is great for this. And then normally I wouldn't include this, but it kind of made sense to include it in this Docker Compose, because this has got Watchtower in it, and this is only going to update the Orb Docker container, so that as new updates are released and that sort of thing, it'll happen. It's going to check every hour. It's going to check for an update. It looks like, according to this Watchtower setup here, like it says, check every hour. So, and then there's more explanation in here about how you can deploy that. If you're familiar with Docker, this is all very, very straightforward. So that's kind of what's going on. That's how I deployed it initially. And I ran into kind of an interesting situation with that. When I initially deployed this using Docker, like my laptop found the Orb installed via Docker with no issue. But my phone, despite everything being on the same network, my phone didn't detect the Docker Orb sensor. Sorry, I wanted to make sure all my words were right there. I wasn't trying to be dramatic. I just had to get their words right in my head. So I had it deployed via Docker, and like I said, my laptop in the other end of the house detected it without issue, and started pulling the data very, very quickly and easily. It was great. Tried to do it on my phone, and it was like, nah. I don't find any other sensors, which I thought was kind of weird. Again, because they're all on the same network, the same subnet. So that was kind of my experience. But then as I was scrolling through different parts of this, I was like, wait, there's a Home Assistant option here. So that's what I did. I went through the steps here in their Home Assistant setup process. Went beautifully, very, very straightforward. No gotchas in here, no complicated stuff. You just add the repository, and it was fine. It worked. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. But I went through all of the steps here, like four primary steps, and each step has some sub steps. Not really that bad though. Cool. So Taco Milkshake says, right now we use zeroconf/bonjour MDNS for finding orbs on your local network. We'll be adding the ability to manually add an orb via host or IP. That is perfect. Thank you so much for working on that already. That was actually kind of one of my questions, is why can't I just manually put in an IP address? Sounds like you're already working on that, and that is amazing. So that's kind of what's going on, but like we haven't actually seen what Orb looks like, right? So let's actually go back to the homepage, and let's switch back over here so you can see that. I'm going to click on Get Orb, and I'm going to download for Windows. Now, this is orb.app installer right here. I'm going to click that, and then we can install and launch when ready. I'll click Install. Anyway, there we go. So here we are. Now, you don't have to create an account if you don't want to. The advantage to creating an account is that you can then monitor different devices from anywhere that you're logged in with that same account, right? Like you can, I tell you what, let's just do this. Let's skip account setup, choose preferences. This is all fine. We're gonna go through this setup process without signing in, just so you can kind of see what's happening first, right? Well, that's interesting. So for this desktop, I've got an Orb score of 96. It did find other orbs on the network, which if we look down here, there's vPro, that is my laptop. And then over here, this is my Home Assistant, and those are 97s. And this 96 will probably go up, but on a brand new install, it hasn't had a chance to do any speed tests, any reliability tests. It's had zero chance to do anything that would bring that score up even further. And what I love about this is you can say, well, how's the last minute been? How's the last 5 minutes been? How's the last hour been? How's the last 24 hours been? And if I click this, I can see, like, this is, of course, just the last 5 minutes for the desktop that we're on right now. This is my minis for a mini PC. This is the new configuration that I did. You'll notice the icons below the score light up when they're included in the score. I'm actually glad you said that. That is, I wondered why I hadn't seen, like, some of them hadn't been lit up when I was messing with this earlier. So thank you for explaining that. Brent asks, what does Orb do exactly? Definitely go check out orb.net. That's what we're taking a look at today. I'm just going to go ahead and paste this in there like that, in a couple of different chats. One for YouTube, one for Twitch. If my brain would work. Holy crap, there are 41 of you on YouTube. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. So basically, this continuously monitors the quality of your internet connections from any platform or device. So what I like about this, rather than, let me just do this real quick. No, darn it, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. I'm just trying to pull something up here. All right, so this is my speed tracker dashboard. This is installed on in an LXC via Docker on my HL15, and this is great, right? This gives me a pretty good understanding of what my internet is doing as far as the ISP portion of things is concerned between that LXC and the internet. This is a snapshot of one device's connectivity, whereas when you deploy orbs on different devices, like we just deployed this orb on the desktop that we're on right now, right? This is one device on my network. It is this desktop, right? If we come back, let's click that like I mean it. Maybe. There we go. These are other devices on my network. Like this is the laptop that I've got in the living room. This is where I do most of my time, right? And for responsiveness, I've got a score of 94. For reliability, a score of 100. And for speed, a score of 98. And you'll also see that we get two different speed test or speed test scores effectively, right? Like we get one for just browsing the internet, just a regular, all of the time kind of connection. Whereas peak is like what can my internet connection really do? Yeah, so like Taco Milkshake says, content speed test is designed to be fast slash use less data and represents the actual activities of the internet, downloading contents, CDN, moderate videos, upload, that sort of thing. But that's just your daily living kind of tasks, right? Or we can be like, no, let's see what my internet can do here. And I can't do anything with this because I'm not signed in, right? That's kind of what we're up against there. But if I come over to here and I want to do like a test peak speed, dude, my mouth won't work today. So it's running a speed test for like, what can my internet like really do? Like, what is it really capable of versus just kind of standard daily tasks, watching videos, browsing the internet, that sort of thing. So for peak downloading, I'm getting 2 gigs. For peak upload, I'm getting about 1.5 gigs. Actually, Thomas W says you need tea. Yeah, I actually talked to my wife about that on the way out here about half an hour ago, and I was like, you know what? If you wanted to bring me like iced tea instead of hot tea, that would be awesome. And so that is going to happen at some point. In the meantime, I've got my orange juice and I've got some water. Oh, that was an awful sound. I apologize. Anyway, yeah, I actually probably should. So back to this test, right? If we take a look at our speed test again, so we've got our content speeds like Taco Milkshake kind of described how that works. We've also got our peak speed down here of about 2 gigs down and about 1.5 gigs up. I'm perfectly okay with all of that. And of course, we get our speed or our test results, our score. Score is the word I'm looking for right there. And with some of these, you can open them up. You can expand them by clicking on them and get an idea of what's going on. Your best, your worst, your typical for your lag, for your responsiveness on here. So best, worst, typical. This is kind of the milliseconds for response time when it's doing its testing. You also got latency, jitter, and packet loss. All of these numbers I'm perfectly content with. Best 3 milliseconds, worst 16 milliseconds, typical 5 milliseconds. Don't hate that. And then a web load, typical about 48 milliseconds. And of course, I don't have a lot of control over that. Part of that is going to be the responsiveness of the servers that I'm going out and viewing. But again, this is just the device that we're on right now. This is not other devices on my network. You also get a little bit of a synopsis over here. Instant and powerful lightning fast reaction with strong foundation. That's what it thinks about my internet in general. We can click right here, and then it kind of breaks everything out. Oh, well, there you go. The primary metrics of responsiveness is lag, which combines latency, jitter, and packet loss into one value. Excellent explanation. Appreciate that. So if we come back over to here, let's take a look at my Home Assistant setup, just so we can kind of see what that looks like. And in fact, if we compare, we've got all 3 icons lit up there right now. Because it's done all of the testing for all of that. Thomas says, so if you had a home server, would you add this to each service or would you add this to bare metal machines only? I feel like you would. This is one of those things you might install on your laptop, your wife's laptop or tablet, whichever you prefer to use. Maybe your bare metal machine, spin up a Proxmox LXC, or however they handle it with the Proxmox install. You just want to put it on the different nodes that you may have issues with. You would just want to keep tabs on, because again, if we take a look at like my home, my speed test, this is only showing me that device. It's not showing me my phone. It doesn't show me my laptop. It doesn't show me my wife's computer. It doesn't show me anything. So basically, you just want to put these orbs on the different machines that you want to keep track of, because maybe you've got a situation where one device on your network is being fussy. It's causing you issues. You've got one device, everything else in the house works fine, but now you can, on a device by device basis, keep tabs on things again, like your lag, your reliability, your speed, on, again, a device or on a device by device basis, rather than just one big score like we would see here with Speed Test Tracker. So this is kind of a way to keep tabs on multiple devices with very, very little overhead. So in fact, if we come into Task Manager, there we go. Orb. Darn it, where did it go? Right there. We're gonna sort this by name. There we go. Orb. 160 megs of RAM, 1% CPU usage. Like, it's not taking up any of my system resources here, but it's still able to periodically run the tests that it needs to run. Of course, in that scenario, you're also going to, your resources will bump a little bit. But just as it's idling, 160 megs of RAM is nothing. Taco Milkshake also brings up a great thing as well. Also doesn't just have to be on your network. Could be at work, your parents' place, a friend you help, that sort of thing. So like my father-in-law, for instance, not super tech savvy, right? That's not a dig on him. He's like 70 something, almost 70. Anyway, I don't know. He's kind of in that age range, right? So if I were to have a way to set up a node for him, he's 1,000 miles from here, and I don't want to deal with it. But if he was having issues, I could set up a node or an orb at his place and kind of keep tabs on all of these different metrics at his place as well, as long as everything was logged in with my that same account. So I'd be able to check, his responsiveness, his reliability, and his speed, even if I'm not there, because I've got access to that node. So it's kind of a cool way to not only, like Taco Milkshake said, keep track of not only the stuff that you're managing personally in your own infrastructure, but maybe you've got a less than tech savvy friend or family member who might need some periodic help from time to time. Now, this doesn't do anything to actually help them, right? Like I can't from here reboot their modem. I can't from here reboot their router. I can't from here have any impact other than seeing what's going on. But at least this is kind of a starting point at which I can be like, okay, well, it looks like there's an issue with your speed, so let's troubleshoot that by rebooting your modem, right? So you can kind of use this as a way to get in and see what's going on, and then kind of make your troubleshooting steps based on the information that you're given here. And I think this is absolutely wonderful. So what I want to do next is actually click sign in. I click this, it's going to bring me over here. And then there are several different ways that I can sign in. I'm going to sign in with Google, but in order for me to do that comfortably, I'm going to show you this while I do this. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click continue. And then I can come back over to here and show you. It says your sign-in is complete. You can now return to the Orb app. Feel free to close this browser window. Yeah, we're happy to have you in our orbit. That's pretty clever. I dig that. So then if we close this, minimize that, now we can see all of the different things. And I can, if I wanted to, come into here and scroll down, and I can now test the speed, the content speed, or the peak speed of any of the devices that I've logged into with this same account. Love it. Absolutely love all of this. Let's see. Taco Milkshake says, we just launched, but we're planning to add orb sharing, i.e. your friend shares their orb with you temporarily or permanently. That's brilliant. I love that. That's really cool. That would make it even easier for, say, me to call or send my father-in-law a link, click this, install it, give me access. That would be amazing. Not to sound like an ass or anything, but unless you're having internal issues, there's not much you can do about the speed. I have to restart my Spectrum stuff daily. We'll be getting fiber soon. I mean, yeah, look, it also could be a thing where maybe your modem just needs to be rebooted. And I don't mean just your modem, but like whoever you're helping out, maybe their modem just hasn't been rebooted in a while. So maybe that would fix the issue it happens to be. That's usually the first thing they tell you to do anyway. Reboot your modem. So what do the three icons under the big number mean? That's a great question. I'm going to come back over to here. So the first one is responsiveness. These icons, because they are lit up, means that all three of these tests have been run and are contributing to this overall score. So we've got responsiveness as the lightning bolt. The little diamond here is reliability, and then this is your speed test. So all of this stuff over here on the right-hand side is being kind of brought together into this overall score. And Orb gets a nice big fat stack of data about people's networks to do with whatever they want. You could look at it that way, or you could also look at it as these are also the guys that were the former creators of Speed Test and Down Detector, and that they're actually trying to do better for the community, and they're not necessarily trying to farm your data and exploit you. I've never talked to anybody at Orb other than Taco Milkshake being in the chat during this in this live stream, right? But you can come down here, you can look at their privacy policy, you can look at their terms of use, their help and support. If you're not sure how you feel about installing that, that's fine. Like, nobody's telling you that you should. Nobody's forcing this down your throat. If you're not sure about how they're going to use your data, then go to the privacy policy and read through it. If that's not enough, you can also look at their terms of service and make sure that you agree with it. If you don't like what it says here, then don't install it. It's that simple. Again, nobody's forcing you to use this. This is just me showing a new thing that's out for the community to take a look at if they're interested. So there you go. We definitely care about privacy. We want this to be free for personal use forever without compromising privacy. So then you're like, well, then they've got to be selling your data. No, they've got an enterprise plan and they're working on that. And that will be where their money likely comes in, is from selling enterprise stuff. And they will make their money on the back end of that, would be my assumption. That's a very common practice for these types of applications. There you go. That's exactly what I was just saying. Thank you, Taco Milkshake, for validating what I was saying there. And they welcome the skepticism. Absolutely, you have to in this case. So DevAG says, does this have a Docker image /UIs? I use a speed test Docker to monitor the speeds regularly. So there is. Where did it go? Docs, it's over here. Yeah, there absolutely is a Docker image that you can deploy this with. There's several different ways that you can deploy this. We're going to take a look at a few of them today. There is no web interface at this point, right? There's not. What there is, though, is an application that you install on your desktop. Again, whether it's Windows or Mac OS, Windows, iOS, Android. All of those have apps that you can install. And once you do that and you connect everything together, whether it's done with or without an account, you'll eventually end up with something that looks like this, where you can see, like this is my Home Assistant. I've got this installed on Home Assistant, and here we can see everything for the last 24 hours as far as what's going on. But again, I've also got, I've got this on my laptop, and I have for the last little bit, and you can see all of this. What's cool about this is when you install the application, you're also installing you're installing both kind of a server and a client simultaneously in one application. That's the only way I can really explain it, right? Because not only are we able to go and look at all of these different devices on my network, we're able to go into each device and say, okay, well, this device is scoring a 97, and here's all of the stuff on it. This desktop, the one we're looking at right now, has scored a 96, but it hasn't tested reliability yet. That hasn't been factored into the score just yet. So when you set up an account for this, you can not only see all of the different nodes on your network from any node. It's weird. It's hard for me to explain, right? Like you're installing different places where you can check the reliability of the speed, all of that kind of stuff on that node, but then also view all of the other nodes from each other's nodes. It's this weird spider web kind of thing where they're all able to communicate with each other so that you can keep better tabs on what's going on all of your different devices that you want to monitor. It won't monitor a device that doesn't have the Orb software installed on it. I would use this as an easy way for my kids to see if their game server is up and status. I host one from home. Oh, there you go. Does this allow for widgets or something like homepage? Currently, no. This is still brand new software. I would absolutely put this on my homepage setup, 100%. But like this was announced 4 days ago. So sorry, I was reading, but yeah. So I'm sure that hopefully, I hope over time, the devs will put in some API access if they haven't already, to allow developers to add things for like homepage or whatever, to bring that data into other places. I don't know if that's the plan. It'd be very cool if they did, though. So Dev Access, open Orb app on your phone or personal computer, which must be on the same network. Notice this on docks. Does this support remote monitoring or any support plan in the future? Thanks for the great info. I think as long as you're signed in with an account, you should be able to remotely monitor, though I don't have 100% on that yet. Hopefully Taco Milkshake can answer that better. I haven't. Both orbs are on the same account. You can remote monitoring, checking in with home. There you go. Cool. Thank you for clarifying. That's what I thought the case was, but I didn't want to speak too much more until I knew 100%. Symbiote says, hey, what's up? Dude, glad to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate seeing you here. So that is kind of the gist of Orb. As far as, taking a look at the app, and here we can see that I've actually technically got 4 instances running, but like on my phone, top down, there we go. Right, so this is my phone, and I don't currently have Orb running, and that's why over here on my desktop it shows this as being offline right here, because I didn't have the app running. And now that it's open and I come back over here, hey, look, now that it says that it's back online, and this isn't great. This 84, not great. But again, in fact, it's up to 90. It's up to 90 over here on my phone. So eventually over here, this will update to be more better. Sorry, I gotta deal with something over here. We're going to ban that person. Neat. So anyway, that's basically how it works, right? It's really just that simple. Just install it. If you want to attach an account to it, you can. You'll get better information if you do that. You can actually connect to other nodes on your network, either remotely or locally on your network, depending on how you're currently accessing this. So just real quick, I'm going to answer this a bit off topic, but what do you use as your Wi-Fi? I've got a Unify set up with Wi-Fi 7, but my phone doesn't support Wi-Fi 7. So I think the only device I've got on my network that supports Wi-Fi 7 is this V Pro device right here, but it's also plugged in on a 2.5 gig LAN. So it is what it is. But my whole network is Unify. So anyway, let's talk about deploying this a couple of different ways. I think that's going to be kind of a fun next thing to do. So again, there are several different ways that you can set up an Orb sensor, like we can see. Let's zoom in a little bit. Right here, again, we're on the Docker screen right here. There's just a Linux install script if you want to go that route. There are detailed instructions for specific distributions if you need to or want to go that route. I'm not going that route with any of my stuff, but like, let's say you wanted to install an Ubuntu, you can just you can add Orb's Forge's GPG key, you can add the repository, and then you can install Orb, and then enable auto updates with 4 steps, 5 steps maybe, just that simple to install here via Ubuntu 20.04 and above. Again, they've got other instructions in here as well if you want to take a look at that. Again, if you want to install this on a Raspberry Pi, they've got all of the steps here on how to do that. I haven't touched a Pi in a really, really long time. Not even going to touch on Raspberry Pi. I've only installed OpenWRT like once or twice in my life, so not going to touch that. Docker. This is how I got my initial thing started here. Oh no. Crap. So, man, I don't remember what that IP address is. Meister Pets has become a member. Thank you so much for that. Oh, well, Collins, dude, thank you for 6 memberships. Dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You're always doing stuff like that. I super appreciate you. So anyway, let's get logged into here. Man, Collins, thank you so much for that. That was really nice. I'm going to do that. Hey, that was the first time that's ever worked. Change Rockstar a bit. Trying to find you on Twitch. Twitch. Should just be twitch.tv/dbtechyt. Should be it right there. Yeah, that's right. So if you're over on, that's how you can find me on Twitch. If you prefer to go that route, obviously you don't have to, but if you want to, that's how you can do it. I don't remember if I put it on here. Yeah, there's Orb. Cool. So I did actually have it on here. We're going to start this back up. We're going to take a look at what the Docker deployment looks like for this Orb setup. Honestly, super straightforward. Super straightforward. Hopefully this will pop back up here in a second. There we go. Then we're going to grab that, copy that. I really wish this better. All right, so here we are. This is, there it is. Orb sensor is running, and we can take a look at the logs, and we can see that it's doing stuff, so that's awesome. Anywho, we come over here, we take a look at the stack, right? This is the Docker Compose effectively that I used. They deployed both Orb sensor and Watchtower to once an hour, check for new updates, and update accordingly. We look at the editor. Again, very simple here. Let's zoom in. Our service, services, our first service is Orb Docker with OrbForge/Orb/ with the latest tag there. Container name Orb Sensor, network mode for host. That way it can have access to the actual controller and get a better idea of what's going on with your internet stuff. We've got a Docker volume here to store the configuration so that it can persist. Love seeing the documentation on each of these. You can limit resources if you need by just undoing these hashtags there. I'm not worried about that, so I'm not going to worry about that. We can do a restart policy of always, which I love seeing because we're doing a monitoring service here. I think a restart of always is absolutely the way to handle that. Very often you'll see this as unless stopped, but always I think is also an acceptable way to do this. And then we've got this label right here, just tells Watchtower, hey, do what you got to do. So that's it. And then, of course, Watchtower is here with the container name of Watchtower, restart unless stopped. And then the volume is going to run on the Docker socket with this command of label enable and check every 3,600 seconds, so about once an hour. And then we've got our volumes declared down here. It's really just that simple to deploy this via a Docker Compose. And again, I literally just copied and pasted from here. The newest version of Docker doesn't require or even like there to be a version here anymore. Not Docker. Docker Compose doesn't like these versions at the top anymore, but that's kind of irrelevant. But super simple to deploy. Literally just copy and paste because there are no ports that it needs to use because there's no web server built into this. So you don't have to have any ports for this. This is just a service running any Docker container. It's just that simple. If I come over to here, that's not what I meant to do at all. What I wanted to do was come over to here, and then Orb's on this network. It's this one right here. Right, this is the one that I literally just deployed. And if I click that, I can kind of see what's going on here. There was, link this Orb to your account. Can I do that? Oh, I was able to do that. That's cool. That was super easy. I was able to just go here and I was able to just click there and click add to your account. One other thing that I didn't talk about, I don't want to do it here. Let's actually come over. You know what? I lied. I do want to do it here. I'm gonna say notifications for this, right? So that if this goes offline, if things go wonky, I should, in theory, get a notification for that happening just by turning on notifications. I can rename this if I want to. I can add it to my favorites. This is so cool. I love this. Again, if I come into here, I can come into here. I can say get notifications. Again, I can rename this, add to favorites. We should have seen that earlier, but I glossed over it. I apologize. Did I not add that to my favorites? There we go. Yeah, I did. So, all right, Taco Milkshake says, we have notifications on disconnect, reconnect, but are planning to add many more options for notifications, score drops, reliability issues, etc. We also plan on letting users change thresholds, 1-second outages versus 30-second outages, for example. Dude, I love that. That's awesome. Dude, here's the thing. That's one of the reasons I love coming in early when I see these new projects. Again, I think the first time I saw anything about this, the earliest date I've seen on this being talked about online was April 30th. I don't know if it was talked about before that, but that's the earliest date that I remember. So that was 4 days ago. And already they're like, hey, here's what we've got that's usable, that's functional, that you can just jump in and add to your setup painlessly. But man, do we have plans for this? And I absolutely love that. One thing, now that I think about it, we've got notifications over here. Sensor mode. One thing that I think would be neat, and I know it might be a real pain in the butt to do, but I'd love to see a roadmap. I don't know if you've got one, like on your GitHub. Excuse me. Or maybe you've got one in your blog. April 30th was your first blog post. So anyway, I would love to see a roadmap just to let people know what kinds of things they can expect as the development keeps progressing. Again, I don't know if that makes total sense for you guys, but again, would love to see it because I like to see what's coming down the road. That's just kind of a me thing, but again, anyway. So let's minimize this. So yeah, we can see all of these are running. Again, this orb right here, we're gonna call this. We're gonna rename this. We're gonna call this Docker -orb and click save. Let's see this one. We're gonna call this rename. We're gonna call this. Oops, darn it. That's not. Yeah, I know, because I screwed that up. We're gonna call this Office Orb. Oops, save. We're going to call this HA Orb. And then vPro, we're going to call this Laptop Orb. Right? I keep hitting enter. Anyway, doesn't matter. But now I can see all of these different things here. Wait, what? Laptop? Oh, that was whatever. That doesn't matter. Excuse me. Jeez. So just by installing the application like we did earlier in this video, I know you couldn't see that. I apologize. I just renamed all of my orbs. I went over here and I clicked rename and I renamed it and I clicked save and that was it. I apologize. I missed that. Let's see. Oh, holy cow. That was your launch date. Outstanding. Also discovered this around the same time because somebody shared it. I think it was Duke. I think Duke actually shared that over on the Discord. It's on GitHub. Outstanding. Let's look at that, right? Oops, come on, let go. There we go. So here we've got all kinds of stuff. That's awesome. So 22 issues, 22 open, 2 closed. What were the closed ones, right? Flatpak support and Raspbian. That's cool. So anyway, definitely check this out. In fact, I'll share this. I'm going to share this on both, like so, just so that it's easier to find. Like so. There we go. Right, you guys aren't even a week from your launch. Awesome job. I 100% agree with that. They are also planning a web page that makes the roadmap a little easier to parse. That's awesome. Just noticed it's it started on April 25th on status page. Good to be updated. Looks like we are quite dependent on their services. We love a self-hosted, even paid case as they go down. We will have no update. Dev ag. Oh, cool. So yeah, absolutely loving all of this. I'm so thrilled at how easy all of this is to deploy, to manage, to take a look at, as far as this is concerned. Be like, oh, I want to test my my peak speed on my laptop, right? I can do that even from in here. I can force that orb to run an update for my peak speed test. Nobody says, is there a web UI you can use to access through the browser? I assume not. I don't see it on the website. Currently, there's not. I would also like to see that, but it is what it is. It's. I would like to see it, but I don't know if that's on their GitHub yet at this point, and I closed it, so I don't know. But anyway, that said, let's close some of this stuff out. Let's take a look at some other ways that we can handle this. Let's go to docs. There we go. So we took a look at Docker. Again, I've got this running on Home Assistant. If I do there we go. And I go into settings. I need to update some stuff. Oh, that's interesting. Devices and services. Llama. I don't see Orb in here. Integration. Darn it, it's under add-ons maybe. There it is. Yeah, so under add-ons, this is my Orb instance. And you can see that I've got it set to start on boot. I've got it as a watchdog, which will restart if it crashes. We can see CPU and RAM usage, and then more information here about how it integrates. And it's super, super simple, again, to go into settings, add-ons, add-on store, which is where I was. Click on add-on store, and then you can do a search for Orb and click there, and then you can click install. And then at that point, then you can install that and see what I'm seeing here, and then have it show up in your other dashboard applications. I absolutely love how easy that was. We're getting close on the web UI. It will show all the orbs on your account. That's awesome. That's I think what we were all really, really hoping you would say there. Let's see. Excuse me. There we go. Let's take a look at installing Orb on Proxmox. So we take a look here. It says this guide will walk you through the process of setting up Orb sensor on a Proxmox virtual environment node. Installing the Orb sensor allows you to monitor the network responsiveness and reliability of your Proxmox node from anywhere in the world using your mobile device or computer. With Orb sensor running on your Proxmox node, you can monitor your node's network connectivity and performance, track network reliability and responsiveness over time, receive push notifications on your Android or iOS device when your Proxmox node experiences connectivity issues. Love that. And then, of course, some prerequisites, that sort of thing. So I'm going to grab this right here. And then I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to go to my node right there. And then I'm just going to go to shell. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit there. So I just went to my node right there. And then you can click shell, and then you can just right click and paste. Oops. Oh, shoot. I hope that didn't screw it up. Do you want to enable automatic updates? Yes, I do. Oops. Yes, I do. Cool. Orb sensor's running. It's just that simple. But now it's running on the node. Everything should be restored or should be stored locally, I believe. Like if we take a look at, for instance, just using, if we just look at the Docker container right here, the right here persists Orb configuration, I would assume that your data would get stored there as well. So anyway, now that we've installed it here and we've got our automatic updates running, I can click there. We can open this app back up. Let's minimize this. We're going to go back a page. We're going to scroll down. HL15. Hey, look, right there. There it is. I'm going to click that. I'm going to link this orb to my account. That's it. And my HL15 is right there. And then if I scroll down, HL15 right there. Now, again, if we take a look at these, I mean, it may be hard to see, but like all three of these icons are lit up. All three of these icons are lit up. Only two of these three are lit up because, again, it hasn't had enough time to do any kind of reliability that means anything here. So just to give you an idea of why. And there's not really anything I can do to force it to do a reliability check. So that's how easy it was to install in Proxmox. At this point, we're just gonna have to just kind of let it hang out and see what it does. Okay, after 1 minute, there we go. Let's run that test just real quick. And we'll just go from there. Is it even possible to score 100 in Orb? It's hard to say. All Orb data is stored locally in a SQLite database that users are welcome to use however they like. We only send summaries on cloud, which enables remote access of Orb data. Any guess on how much data it uses? Like I would assume, based on my experience with running speed tests, just in general, each speed test might take a couple of gigs of data. I don't have any actual information on that. I haven't had it up long enough to do the testing myself. And for some reason it did not. Let's do this. Nope. Test content speed. Weird. I clicked that and then it didn't. That's really strange. Oh, there it goes. Huh. And then let's do a speed test. 100 is considered the ideal, unlikely not be reached. 0 millisecond lag, instant downloads, etc. Cool. I actually super appreciate that the likelihood of getting a 100 score is basically impossible, just because it's not. It wouldn't be true to the testing itself, because you're not going to get a 0 millisecond lag. It's just not going to happen. So I actually kind of appreciate that 100% or a score of 100 is super unlikely, just with everything going on there. But anyway, that's how I got that set up. So now we've installed this a few different ways here, and it looks so good. I'm so happy with that. Let's also turn on notifications. Select which orbs will send notifications when they go offline. Well, let's do that. We're not going to worry about that. Yeah, 97. It seems like it'd be a really, really good score. And that's more or less what I've got, 96, 97 across the board. I've had as high as 98, but I'm not trying to brag or anything, So, yeah, I think 96, 97, excuse me, great scores. So now let's do this. I'm going to do a couple of things. All right. So I've got my phone over here, right, with my Orb score of 90, right there. And that's kind of hard to see, isn't it? There it goes. It's a little better. Let me see if I can do something over here with this. Effects, exposure. What happens if I bring that down a little bit? That helped a little bit. There we go. Let's keep that running. Okay, so let's minimize that. Peter says I won't be able to stick around. Just wanted to wish you all an awesome weekend. Dude, Peter, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. Always love seeing familiar faces here on the live streams. All right, so we've got this running right now. What I want to do though, sorry, I keep touching that. What I want to do is come back over to my HL15 right here, right, and then what I want to do, let's make sure that I have notifications for all of that. That's great. What I'm going to do is come over here to Orb, right click, shut down. Nope, that's not what I want. I want to click stop and bypass and click yes. Nope. Oh, that actually was it right there. That was the notification. It happened so fast I accidentally clicked it without realizing that was the error message that I was looking for. Close that. Okay, so we've got all of these. This Docker Orb is offline. So what I'm going to do then, this is that Docker orb right here. I'm going to bring it back online like so. And then I'm going to go back to the top down just so that we can see how quickly. In fact, let's zoom in a little bit, I think. I think zooming might help. Right? So, and it said connected. Man, okay. I might make a bit of a suggestion there. I accidentally tapped my screen to bring it back on, and it shut down that notification, and I didn't get to see what it actually said. So anyway, connections. And that actually was Elgambor said I asked on YouTube, but I figured I'd get a better answer here. The data is being stored in a mice or in a SQLite database. That was actually addressed earlier. Let me see if I can find it. All Orb data is stored locally in a SQLite database. The users are welcome to use however they like. We only send summaries to cloud, which enables remote access of Orb data. That was answered 5 minutes ago on Twitch, just a few nodes up. So hopefully that will answer your question a little bit better. Let's see. Let's come up here to the bell. No notifications yet. Go unplug some cables. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to unplug this Orb Docker cable, so to speak. We're going to click stop. We're going to overrule, say yes. Dude, that was fast. That was, dude, like almost as soon as I clicked shut down, it was like, hey. But if I click, okay, now it's being like that. But if you click outside of it, it's just a weird little thing. I just happened to click outside of it, but it's not showing me any of my notifications here. So maybe that's a misconfiguration on this side. Notifications. No, nothing there. And then keep awake. I don't really want to do that. Anyway, just one of those things I noticed. But dude, I got that notification so fast. Like that was truly insane. I'm blown away by how quickly I received that notification. Like I don't even know how you did that, but that was really, really neat. Would it be worth running on my NAS? Do it again. Great feedback. It does. Unfortunately, does not appear there. So I found a small bug. It should be showing in the notifications tab. Well, cool. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help wherever I can. Just not sure why it's not showing up there. Again, not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things for right now. But I'm glad we were able to find that. I just installed this on my phone yesterday, I think. So I've got a relatively new install of this. So I'm actually gonna bring this back. I'm gonna go to desktop. Nope, I'm gonna go to top down again, so you can see this, right? And I'm gonna right click, start. "13 seconds." Like I saw this pop up on my screen where it says Orb login, and then just a second later, I got this notification saying your device is connected back to the Orb network after 1 minute and 53 seconds. So love seeing that. That happened so fast. Really, really impressed with that. But again, nothing there in that notification bell. So that's Orb, I think, at least as it currently stands. There are other ways that you can do this, like we talked about briefly, like Collins was talking about. He can put this on a Steam Deck. If you've got a gl.inet Broom 2, you can put it there. Spare iPhone, spare Android, and of course, Windows, Linux, Docker, Proxmox. There's actually one thing I wanted to check. Troubleshooting. One thing that I don't see here. Oops, helps if I'm on the right. Helps if I put it here, so that you can see what I'm talking about. I don't see uninstall Orb, iOS, Android, alternatively, desktop, Windows. Docker removing account. I don't see how to remove this via. I don't see how to remove this from Proxmox. If I come back over to here and I go to there and I go here, is there like an uninstall.sh? No, there is not an uninstall.sh. So I guess I'd like to see an uninstall script, apt remove orb and deb. Yeah, I'm not on. I don't like this is apt remove orb. Oh, there you go. Nice. Oops. Yep. Cool. It would just be cool to have that like in the documentation. I think to not yet uninstall, but great feedback. Cool. So anyway, that's awesome. Like I really, really dig all of that. That was super easy to set up, super easy to configure. Being able to connect to this via, like any number of different ways. You're absolutely right. Playlist. Proxmox is Debian. That is correct. But I think for some of us that have monkey brains, we also like to see the unnecessary stuff because we've got to. The developers have to cater to those of us who are often the lowest common denominator. So if I don't see Proxmox, it's just a weird thing for me. But I absolutely love this. I think this is just really, really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the additional things that are coming down the pipeline for all of this, especially being able to not just click, in fact, let's minimize this, not just click scan again, but have the option to add by host name or IP address. I love seeing that knowing that that's an option. I love knowing that, like there's the option to have a shared thing. So like, again, using my father-in-law as an option or as an example where he could install this on his system and then share his account with me, however they plan on doing that so that I could then keep an eye on that for him. I think that's so very cool. I love where this is already, and this has only been made public 4 days ago, and this is truly blowing me away. So I love seeing what they've done so far. I love knowing what's coming down the pipe. I think they've done a really, really good job with this so far, and can't wait to see where it continues to go. I am so confused. Huh. Weird. Sorry, I looked over here at my Talking Milkshake says thank you again. We're humbled to be here, dude. Thank you. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like I spend a lot of my time looking through, like Ethan Shawley's self-host newsletter or whatever it's newly named. It still hasn't been concreted into my brain. I spend a lot of time on Reddit and digging through GitHub and on different, groups on like Facebook, that sort of thing. And it's been a while since there's been something new. And I don't mean to denigrate the people who are creating new apps and that sort of thing, but so many of the new apps that I have seen are, here's the 45th version of a note-taking app, or here's another file and note sharing app, and it's kind of getting repetitive in a lot of those areas. Again, I'm still going to cover things like Hortus Fox, and I'm still going to cover a couple of other things that I'm working with some developers on covering their product. But this one popped up on my radar a couple of days ago, and it immediately got me excited again. This is one of those things where it's something I didn't know I needed. I never thought about like, okay, well that's, I've always just gone and looked at, it's not up, but I've always just gone and looked at my, my speed test setup on my HL15, and that was good. But it never occurred to me to have something where I could check each of my individual devices independently of each other based on their configurations, based on the way they're connected to the network, based on maybe the apps that they're running and the stuff that they've got in place for their setup. Being able to see individual devices on my network and how they're responding is something I didn't know I needed. And now I'm obsessed. Like I'm super obsessed with looking at these numbers. And I didn't know I needed that until about 3 days ago, until like Thursday. because I've looked at a dozen or more note-taking apps. I've looked at a dozen or more, file sharing and note sharing, password sharing apps. I've looked at so many different apps that are just kind of duplicates um, of kind of the same thing, just like my take on note-taking, my take on file sharing, my take on, and this is like, nope, this is something you didn't know you needed, and I absolutely love this. So thank you guys to the Orb team for building something new and user friendly and something that's actually usable without being overly complicated. So a lot of the other things that I've noticed is there'll be this really cool app that I'm really interested in the idea behind, but it's like, the title may as well say like, set aside a Saturday because you're going to need it. And this was such a simple install. It was really like for the desktop stuff. It was literally just, oh, thank you. Yay, iced tea. Thank you. This was literally just installing an app on my desktop. This was literally just deploying a Docker container. This was literally just running a script to get up and working. It was such a non-issue to get running. Totally blown away by this. So I'm super, super happy to be one of the first people, maybe not the first, but one of the first people to really demonstrate what we can do with this. And I'm so thankful that Taco Milkshake was here to chat with us about this stuff as we've been going through it, to answer these questions, to give us little bits of insight as far as what's coming down the road. This has been such a very, very cool experience for me. Hopefully you guys in the chat to appreciate what a cool concept this is. And Taco Milkshake just confirmed that I'm the first on Twitch or YouTube, and that makes me super happy. It's rare that I get the opportunity to do that, so I get a little full of myself when I find out that I'm literally the first person to talk about something on a platform like this. So, oh, that's good. Same tea as the hot tea that I get that she brings me all the time, but just as iced tea, and I love it. So good. DB Tech, the innovator. No. I happen to be in the right place at the right time to cover this exactly right now. And I'm super, super happy that we've had the opportunity to do this together, like on the live stream together. This has been very, very cool. And I'm so glad that, that we're all here for this, to kind of share this experience, which I know sounds like a huge, like grandiose thing, but I truly enjoy this kind of stuff. I'm going to share this over here. If you want to join my Discord and you haven't yet, there you go. That's on both Twitch and YouTube. If you want to join the Discord, that would be amazing. Plagueless said that he's going to share. I say he. I don't know why I assume. Plagueless said they are going to share some other projects. So yes, Collins, you are a very special member. But if you're not familiar, Collins is one of my mods over on Discord and on YouTube, and has been for years. So I got to give him a little bit of crap when I can. So anyway, yeah, no, this has been very cool. I've really, really enjoyed this. And like I said, I deployed it Thursday and I had it running and it was fine. And then the more I just kind of sat there thinking about Orb, I was like, oh, there's this and there's this. And if I do this, then there's this. And it was just kind of this, I haven't read the documentation, right? Like I haven't. What we covered in the beginning of this video, that's all the further I've gone into any of the documentation, because it just made sense. It was very intuitive going through all of this stuff, and that is also super, super impressive. Taco Milkshake said earlier, I want to make sure I get this right, that they've been working on this for nearly 2 years. And I can see that. Like I can genuinely see that with the documentation that's been done here, with the way they've made it so simple to deploy. I can tell that you guys have put a lot of time and effort into this, and I'm super, super stoked that you've done that. And I got the chance to cover this as early as I did. we will absolutely be covering this again later. I think after some of the new updates come through, some of the new features come through, that sort of thing, we're absolutely going to cover this again, and of course, then reference back to this live stream. But I'm super happy with this whole project. So yeah, I don't know how else to say that. If anybody else has got questions that maybe I can answer or we can dig into a little bit, I'm happy to do that. I don't know for how long Taco Milkshake can still be here. I don't know what their plans are on a Saturday. But if you guys have got additional questions or thoughts, I'd love to address those if we can. But I'm super thrilled about this. Itch. What servers are used for the speed test / ping tests? In the app, if we actually come into here, right down here, it helps me if I do this. I don't know if you can see this. I hope you can. Right down here, it says powered by Cloudflare. That would be, then I would assume that they're using Cloudflare servers for the speed and ping tests. So yeah, that would be where that happens. Just sitting here on the couch playing with my cat. Happy to answer questions here or in your Discord. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I also love knowing that you're a cat person. That makes me happy as well. We've started with Cloudflare because they have servers all over the world, but also looking to add more. Cool. No, that's great. I also think it would be cool, and I'm sure you're working on this already, but powered by Cloudflare, being able to toggle between, speed test and Cloudflare and Google, whatever servers you end up working with on this. I think it would be very cool if you allowed us the opportunity to choose which servers we wanted to test, just because, or if there's a way to do a round robin or lowest latency, or give us the opportunity to choose which one fits our needs best based on whatever our personal criteria happen to be. That would be awesome. But based on how the rest of this conversation has gone, I'm sure you're already working on that as well. And I absolutely, I think that's absolutely wonderful. So, oops, almost pushed the wrong button. That would have been bad. But yeah, so that's Orb. That is Orb. I shared a sneak peek of the cloud dashboard in your Discord. Did you really? Well, now I have to go look there. Oh, you did. You did. Let's look at that together. Oops. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Darn it. Let's click there. He's on Discord. Yep. That's cool. All right. So Orb Cloud. Cool. Let's look. That's really okay. So we can see our sensors, and we can see if they're online or offline based on the green dot, whether or not notifications are turned on or off based on the color of the bell, the name of the device, the ID, the score, the overall score, the responsiveness, reliability, speed, and then we got individual numbers for each of those things. I love that. And then I can only assume beyond this, and I don't want to get too much into assumptions just because, but I really dig this. Then the next question is, will this dashboard be self-hostable as well? Is this something that will run, say, in a Docker container or something similar to that, so that we can just have a dashboard up like this? I'll definitely be curious to find out how that runs, what the plan is for that. I was just about to ask that. Yeah. Great question. We had yet considered that, but definitely will. Yeah. Again, I'm just, a lot of things just fall out of my face before I really have a chance to process them. So I don't want you to feel obligated to implement anything I've said. Just my mouth says things, and then my brain has to process what I just said most of the time. So. Let's see. We're looking for orbs to optionally run a web UI locally. That would be very, very cool. No cloud at all, and anything cloud should be able to be run locally. Hadn't. I think the problem with what JD says here, just at first thought, I say no cloud at all, and anything in cloud should be able to be run locally. Then you've got additional dependencies that would require additional development for, especially for like remote access stuff. Being able to be away from home and access stuff on my phone, that sort of thing. I know that can be done with WireGuard, like we've demonstrated that with, like Pangolin, for instance. But I feel like this early on, doing something that is like local or self-hostable only with no cloud, I don't know how that would work early on. Again, I'm not a developer, but it would be an interesting thing if they were able to do that. But I think it would require some additional stuff to do that. Also, so that's another question, I guess, for Taco Milkshake. If you're just, it's feasible because Orb stores all data locally as a first principle. That's great. So let's say then, oops, not this. Right. Let's just say I have Orb running on like 5 devices on my network, right? And I'm not logged in to an account. If I've only got them deployed locally and I'm not connected to them via an account, like like an email account or whatever, is there any cloud involved in that? Like if I just had this instance on this computer, just doing this one computer's thing, right? Like if it was just this, right? Is there any cloud connectivity between this node, well, in the cloud, or does the cloud only come in once I've actually logged into an email address? That's something I'd be curious about. So while we wait on that, let's come over here and look. Yeah. Oops. Excuse me. Okay, so there are limited summaries sent to the cloud, but user accounts are primarily used to authenticate that you own an orb and provide remote access. Okay, so there will be some cloud activity even if you're only hosting locally and you're not. In that case, then I would assume that those cloud summaries would be anonymized data, just so that you guys can get a better understanding of how your application is being used. The data it's collecting, again, hopefully anonymized. It would almost kind of have to be if you're not attached to an email address, but that would be my assumption anyway. Not, there you go. All right. Not really. I mean, why does Orb need the data? Yeah, I would be curious about what data is being collected, but then I have to wonder if that's correct. We have no interest in user. Just if networks are accessible. However, I could see having a local only version for users who don't need cloud futures. Can't really be anonymized. Just pseudo. I mean, okay. Privacy policy. Let's. Okay, so let's take a look right here. Here's the information that they collect. So information we collect, personal information. When you register an account, they may collect information such as your name, email address, and other contact details. You'll be aware of that data because you have to use that to create an account. Profile information, additional details, profile picture preferences may be requested to enhance your user experience. Location information. We collect your IP address from which we can derive imprecise location information, for example, at the city or zip code level. We may also have this type of location information if you provide it to us during a sign up in your profile, project page, or other contributions. If your setting choices permit, we collect and process location data that describes the precise geographic location of your device. This may include your physical location movements that allow us to periodically determine your geolocation. That would be like if you got it, say, on your phone, for example. Usage data. We automatically collect information about your device, including IP address, operating system, and app usage details, features used, crash reports, performance metrics. Feedback and surveys. Any information you voluntarily provide through our feedback forms or surveys will be collected. Connectivity data. Orb results are and related data. Wi-Fi connection information and service set identifier. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that you're necessarily collecting an SSID. That I have mixed feelings on that. Device ID, which is distinctive. Oh, so this is device information, which is a distinctive number associated with a smartphone or similar handheld device. I'm guessing like an IMEI, as well as device information, including device type, operating system, and software information and settings. Interesting. Bug reports and feedback submissions in connection with the product improvement process. You may provide additional data about your usage experience, bug reports, or suggestions for improvements. How we use your information. Improving the platform. Data collected will be used to diagnose issues, improve functionality, and enhance user experience with the platform. Communication. We may contact you via email or through the platform to inform you of updates, gather feedback, or notify you of important changes. Analytics. Aggregate data may be used for statistical analysis to help us understand the usage trends and improve the platform. Okay. So let me go back up. There's been some stuff in here. I do think cloud is necessary. Speed test is essentially a cloud thing. Just not sure if they're secure. Maybe they can have an encryption just like we do in Password Manager if that's very necessary. Yeah, no thanks. You're collecting data you don't need for no other reason than you want to. I should, and then Taco Milkshake says, and I should note, we want to be fully transparent here, but we won't into the user location business at all. Regarding Wi-Fi, we use that data to provide the information to you, i.e. the SSID of the used or the user interface. So what else we got here? Data sharing with third-party service providers. We may share your information with trusted third parties, service providers who assist in app development, hosting, and analytics. These providers are obligated to maintain the confidentiality and security of your data. Legal requirements. We may disclose your information if required by law or in good faith if we believe that such an action is necessary to comply with legal obligations to protect and defend our rights or protect the safety of our users. Let's see. You can say you want all day long, as long as the data is collected and sent to the cloud, is stored, and TOS can change. This is the first version of the privacy policy was written. It was broadly written, and we intend to tighten it down so we can, as we can afford to hire lawyers to do so. And I think that's understandable. So 5, data storage and security. Security measures. We employ reasonable security measures to protect your information. Data retention. Your information will be retained only as long as necessary for the purposes outlined in this policy as required by law. There are a lot of vague things in here, but that's been addressed by, this was broadly written kind of as a boilerplate kind of thing here, and hopefully lawyers will get in here to help kind of tighten this down and make it less vague, I guess is the right word there. User rights, access and correction. You have the right to access and update your personal information at any time. You may request the deletion of your account data and personal data. Opt out. You may opt out of receiving communications from us. However, please note that certain notification related to the apps may still be sent, which is good. If there was a privacy breach, if there was a hack, if there was something like that, they would need your contact information to let you know for legal reasons. That makes sense. Children's privacy. Our platform is not intended for children under the age of 13. We do not knowingly collect personal data from children. If we become aware that we have inadvertently collected such data, we will take steps to delete it as soon as possible. JD makes a good point. My main thing is that it's harder to claw back data that's already been collected. If you get used to having access to the data, you'll have a hard time removing it. Ideally, you would collect only the data you absolutely need. I agree with that. I really do. Change it to this privacy policy. This is part 8. The privacy policy may change frequently as we refine our practices and the platform evolves. We will notify you of any significant changes, and the updated version will be posted within the apps and on our website. Continued use of the platform will constitute your acceptance of any updates. And 9, if you have any questions, concerns, or requests regarding privacy policy or our data practices, please contact us at the following information here. So look, I definitely see where some people are having some I don't even know. I can't even think of the word now. Some reservation. That's the word. I can see where people are definitely having some reservation about this because of the vagueness of the privacy policy as it currently stands. And I again, I kind of agree with some of it. There's some of it I don't necessarily like, though I do understand some of the reasons behind it. I still don't necessarily like it. I do think it would be very cool if there was a local only version, a self-hosted only version that doesn't rely on the cloud for this kind of stuff. If we could host our own node or whatever, our own server or whatever. I don't know how to word it. Kind of like, again, not to necessarily bring Pangolin back into it, but like with Pangolin, I've got a node hosted on a VPS that effectively becomes the master that allows me to connect to other devices across the internet. So it'd be kind of cool if there was an option for that for the self-hosted community. But again, I know this is still, we're 4 days out from launch. So again, this is still very, very early. And here's the thing. I truly feel like most people don't read the privacy policy. Most people will just, in fact, I did this myself. I just installed it. I didn't read this until I read it to you guys, right? Like I am just as guilty of this as anyone else. And like, these aren't long. This took us like 5 minutes to get through. Of course, this is different, but acknowledgement, eligibility, saying you must be at least 13 years old, subject to your compliance with these terms, grants you a limited, non-exclusive, non-transferable, non-sub-licensable, revocable license to access and use the platform solely for your personal commercial use purposes. You can't modify any of this. User conduct and prohibited activities, intellectual property, disclaimers and liability or limitation of liability, indemnification, location data. The platform may request your device's location data to provide location-based services and enhance user experience. This may include data such as GPS coordinates, Wi-Fi data, and other location-related information, which definitely makes sense. So I would be curious to see how you guys are able to keep moving forward. Again, I'm very, very hopeful that you'll have the success that I truly think you deserve in both the self-host, SMB and enterprise areas that I think a lot of people are going to find this to be super, super useful for. I think this is great. I'm excited again that we got to check this out together in real time. Let's see. I want to come back up here and read some more of this. Okay. DevAG said maybe can integrate with Discord, Telegram notifications, and have multiple apps. Issue is currently self-hosted, and other Discord works best to get alerts instead of client. Yeah, I agree. Like if I don't have the client running on my phone, then it probably goes into sleep mode where I won't get a notification. So being able to get, notify, Discord, those kinds of things would be very, very cool if that was able to be integrated later on. I appreciate Taco Milkshake says here to JD, great feedback, and we agree. Please hold us accountable as we continue to progress our product and policies. Definitely keep an eye on the project. Don't mean to come across as a jerk. Just point out things I see that could be bad for data privacy. I totally agree. So yeah, there you go. Again, this has been very cool. I really hope that that this continues to grow and flourish. And I know that the team has been working on this for the last couple of years, and I think it definitely shows. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on here, and there's a lot of really cool stuff going on behind the scenes, as we were able to see with a little snapshot there in the Discord. So yeah, no, this is very cool. I really dig all of this. So yeah, um, man, I don't know if there's anything else to really cover here with regards to Orb. I think we've gone through all of, not all of, obviously not all of the install stuff, but we've gone through quite a bit of it. We took a look at what the dashboards look like. We talked about privacy policy and TOS. We've talked about a lot of it. So I'm super happy with what we've covered here. Yeah. So I think I don't know if there's anything else to cover on this, and I don't want to get too far off base going into other topics for people who just want to catch the live stream about Orb, because I don't want to detract from what Orb, the potential that Orb has here. So I guess what I'm going to do is wrap this up. Again, I thank you all. Like there's 52 of you currently over on YouTube and 8 over on Twitch. So thank you guys so much. Let's see, we need a card for Home Assistant, right? Kestra is a tool I'm working with currently. I'll have to check that out. I'm definitely interested in checking out new stuff. It's an open source declarative orchestration platform. I am so bad with that kind of stuff. So I'll have to check it out later. Yeah, I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up. I know this is kind of a shorter live stream, at just over an hour and a half. But again, I really wanted to just keep our focus on Orb in this case, because it's very easy for me to tangent out, and we could be here all day. And I don't want to detract from Orb and our conversation about that. So I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up. Again, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I apologize for the camera shaking. The kid kicked the wall. He's swinging and kicked the wall. It's fine. Again, we're going to check this out further on down the road once more features have been released. I want to thank Taco Milkshake for hanging out for basically the whole live stream, I think, answering questions and taking the brunt of this. You've been amazing. Thank you so much for that. But I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up. I've had a great time today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and more content coming this week over on the video on demand portion of the channel. So again, thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you again here really soon. Have a great rest of your weekend.